Hello everyone, my name is Ashlyn, and for the final project I chose to do a business continuity plan for the organization that I work for, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, and that is located in Quincy, Illinois. A brief overview of the project and what this presentation will cover. In this presentation, I will discuss how I obtained my information, inspirations for the content, an overview of my BCP, and the conclusion of the biggest takeaways and who I believed or what I believed were the biggest contributors to the project. Obtaining my information. So a big way that I obtained my information first off was speaking with my supervisor. She's worked at the company for many years and has held many different positions, so she was able to answer most of my questions, and if there was ever anything that she couldn't answer, she was always quick to go and ask her superior or someone she knows who has worked there a longer amount of time. So she was very helpful, and I was able to get a lot of perspective with her. Another way that I was able to obtain a lot of information was speaking with my coworkers. And this also helped me to meet some more of my own coworkers, because at the location that I work at, I only work with those directly who are in my department, which is about 20 people, and in the entire location of the primary facility, there are about 500 on-site employees. So a lot of them I don't get to speak to. And the ones that I did talk to were very helpful in being able to kind of tell me examples of times when the company had a business disruption and how they were able to handle that and work through it. And another way that I obtained information was looking up information on the company website. The company is very large and has many different sub-elements, so obviously I can't go and talk to our CEO, but a way that I was able to kind of get information on the entire organization as a whole was through the company website. Obviously, using my own experience as an employee for Blue Cross Blue Shield was very beneficial, and another contributor was the assignments that we did throughout the course. And I think one of the biggest components of that was the research paper, in which we had to research a real-life example of a BCP and how a company was able to use that in a real-life crisis. So here's a breakdown of what is included in my BCP. I hit all of the required elements, which includes critical functions, RTO and RPO, resources, the relocation process, vital records of the company, mission critical equipment, our stakeholders and dependencies, the revision method and schedule, and testing and training plans. To start off, I will discuss our two critical functions that the organization that I work for kind of is divided into. So first we have claims processing, which is what I do. I am a claims technician, and I have worked in that position for I think about 8 months now. I would say that this is a very high priority, but not our highest, which I will get to right after this. Our primary function is to process members' claims from inpatient and outpatient visits to make sure they are processed and paid accordingly. We have to make sure the providers who contract with us are paid, members are billed, because that's how we make our money, and that is very important that we do that in a timely manner, because there are time restraints and penalties will apply if we don't process claims within a certain amount of time. Next, we have answering member phone calls, which is our customer advocate position. I would say that this is the first function, as it is of the highest priority. And for this reason, just to put it into perspective, we have a larger number of customer advocates than we do claims processors, and that is because if you look on like the back of your own insurance card, you will most likely see a hotline number that you can call and ask questions, coverage specific questions, or it's a way to sign up for new coverage. So if you call the number on the back of your insurance card, you will most likely be connected, or you will be connected with a customer advocate. So obviously we have phone calls coming in, multiple times a minute, and the volume of that is very high. So we have to make sure that that is our highest priority, because our members are our highest priority. We're working for them. And we all know how frustrating it is when we try to call an organization or a company and we can't get connected with anyone. So this is why it is very important that we prioritize answering member phone calls. Recovery time and recovery point objectives. In order to avoid a major financial loss or a damage to the company's reputation, these are the RTO and RPOs I have come up with for the two critical functions. With claims processing for both RTO and RPO, I would say that we need to be back to work absolutely before anything over 12 hours, before the company meets a major financial or reputable impact. And for this reason, the reason is because the inventory of claims is so high. We have new claims coming in, thousands every single day. So there are time restraints. There's different ones depending on the group that we are processing for, anywhere from like 30 days to 180 days. So it's not like we have to be back to claims processing absolutely within, hours, because we do have that time, but because the inventory is so high and because the volume of claims coming in all the time that we have is so high, it is important for us to get to it right away. And then answering member phone calls, both the RTO and RPO, I established as about an hour for obvious reasons, because we can't have people calling in and no answer for them. They are our highest priority, and we want to make sure their questions are answered to avoid any financial loss or damage to the company's reputation. Resource requirements, I narrowed it down by our most important resources, which obviously are the staff. We have about 500 on-site employees and 700 work-from-home employees. Our buildings, workstations, internet access, networked PCs, landlines, fax machines, and car parking is probably our most important means of resource requirements that we would have to recover as soon as possible before any major impact is done to the company, which in my business continuity plan, I broke those down by how much we would need to recover in a certain amount of time before there is a large impact. The relocation process. So Blue Cross Blue Shield in Quincy does have an alternate location, which is a warm site, which means that it is ready for some use, but it's not going to be as much as the primary location. We aren't going to be able to put all 500 of our on-site employees at the warm site. And a great backup to this is that we have so many work-from-home employees. We have about 200 work-from-home employees who can continue working in the event of a business disruption, which helps majorly. And also, we can have our on-site employees work from home in a short amount of time as well. So really, our alternate location is pretty much there for our key personnel to meet and discuss, maybe the business continuity plan or how to get everyone back together before there is a major impact. And next, I will discuss vital records. So both claims processing and answering phone calls from members. Within that, we have medical records and PHI, which is personal information, health information, prescriptions, doctor's appointments, any of our patient files, which would need to be recovered right away. If we were to lose those, it would be very damaging for the company. Both medical records and PHI, personal health information, is stored electronically, and we have all records located on multiple large servers at the main office in Chicago, Illinois. So we also have, our information being stored overseas as well. Many different locations, but our largest server is at the main office in Chicago, Illinois. So it's very unlikely that we would ever totally lose those vital records, just because the company is so large and has prepared for this sort of thing, because it is absolutely essential when you work for insurance. Mission critical equipment. Our mission critical equipment involves our telephones and headsets, and we contract with a company called Jabra. They are located in the storage room in our primary office, and we can contact the company in regards to replacements if necessary. These are so mission critical because our telephones and headsets are obviously how we communicate with each other and how we communicate with members. And then our computers, for obvious reasons, my entire workday is on the computer, so I wouldn't be able to perform any work without it. We contract with Dell Wise for that, and we have many backup computers located in storage, and same as with the telephones and headsets, we can contact the company in regards to replacements if necessary. Stakeholders and dependencies. So our internal dependencies include what I work for is our Texas ASO members and Texas retail members. Even though I am located in Illinois, we have 5 Pro Plan states in Blue Cross Blue Shield, and one of those is Texas. So I actually work directly with Texas. So I process claims for them all day, and I know our customer advocates, there are a group of those who answer customer phone calls that come in from Texas as well. Our stakeholders include who provides us with our equipment, such as our computers and headsets, which is Jabra Wise, and those are both external. And our communication methods with those are well established. We have their hotline numbers and their IT department that we can talk to at any time if we needed to. So we have those available through email and telephone. Revision method. So the plan must be regularly reviewed and updated to maintain accuracy and reflect any changes inside or outside of the business. So this would include if we had a location change, changes to staff, which obviously happens every single year. So I came up with revision should begin to take place by the 30th of every December, and to include the reason for review, which is, as I said, a change in staff or location, etc., and changes that are being made in the facility, which can be anything. And when you work for such a large organization, there are going to be changes all the time. So it should be revised at least once a year, if not more, and the recording of that and the changes that were made should be kept on the table located within the BCP. Testing and training method. For this, emergency BCP CBT for all staff. So a CBT is computer-based training, and for this, it's to be done semi-annually and to include different scenarios of emergency to ensure adequacy and knowledge of contact points, evacuation methods, and more. This should be done by all staff, and this is kind of an easy just task that they can do at work on their own computer, and maybe some downtime, which is, I think, essential in helping employees remember the response methods and how to know who to contact in the event of a disruption. And then the evacuation drill, which should be performed the first of every month, and that is to include all personnel located on site. Obviously, it's going to be department specific, so it is up to the department to be responsible for communicating specific requirements to their staff of evacuation drills and contact points. In conclusion, my biggest takeaways from the project. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this project is that BCPs come in all shapes and sizes. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. So no matter how large the company is, if it has 10 employees or if it has, like the organization I work for, 700 employees, there should be a business continuity plan in place, and the organization should always know the difference between business continuity and disaster recovery, because although they kind of coincide, they are two very different things, and it's important to be able to distinguish between the two to be successful. Even if it's a small organization, you don't want to become part of the large statistics of organizations or companies that do not reopen after a disaster. The biggest contributors to inspire my BCP, I would say all of the supervisors and staff at Blue Cross Blue Shield and the classwork and research paper that we performed throughout the semester. I would say that those largely contributed to my business continuity plan and helped me be able to construct what I am confident in and what I think comprises as a good business continuity plan for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.